With just weeks to go before the U.S. picks a new president, topics like the economy and immigration are in the spotlight. But many here in Taipei are asking what a second Trump presidency could mean for Taiwan. Well, take a look at how former U.S. President Donald Trump answers a question about whether he would defend Taiwan.
Taiwan did take all of our chip business. You know, we used to make our own chips. Now they're made in Taiwan. 90% of the chips
advanced
are made in
semiconductor.
Taiwan. If China takes Taiwan, they will turn the world off, potentially.
This statement, while not true, have left many in Taiwan concerned. Even though the U.S. and Taiwan don't have official ties, Taipei still relies on Washington for almost all of its weapons. TaiwanPlus traveled to Washington, D.C. and Pennsylvania to meet with U.S. and Taiwanese representatives to find out how they're prepping for a possible second Trump administration. Members of Taiwan's main opposition party, the Kuomintang, or KMT, say that a headstrong Trump has them bracing for his return.
I think we need to understand that President Trump is a person that will stick with his first impression or a fixed mindset on certain issues. Once the idea is in, it's very hard to, push him to change that image or idea.
Others say that Trump's bold character could be good for Taiwan, as it could help the country get hold of more weapons.
I think it's fair to say that if Mr. Trump is re-elected, that the boundaries around arms sales to Taiwan will expand. With Mr. Trump, we get more unpredictability, of course, and that creates anxiety and concern. He's also talked about defense and how the United States gets nothing back for its underpinning Taiwan's security.
Trump has been known to be very vocal on certain issues, including Taiwan, which faces the threat of invasion from China. Recently, Trump criticized Taiwan for not paying for its defense, but looking at the numbers, they tell a different story. Under the Trump administration, Taiwan spent a record amount on arms sales from the U.S. compared to other presidencies, spending billions on fighter jets, tanks, and missiles, the majority of which still haven't been delivered. That's a bit different to the current Biden administration, which has mostly provided Taiwan with munitions and maintenance deals. Many in D.C. say that while Trump most likely will continue this kind of support, it's not just him running the show. While under Trump's presidency, Taiwan saw the most ever arms sales, it's his rhetoric on Taiwan that could pose an obstacle. But many analysts say that what he says isn't exactly what the Republican Party thinks about Taiwan.
The politics of it are not easy. The economics of it are not easy.
Alex Velez-Green is a senior policy advisor with the Heritage Foundation, a conservative U.S. think tank. He says while Trump is more vocal on the war in Ukraine, the Republican Party as a whole would focus more on Asia and what he thinks is the biggest challenge.
There are increasingly questions about whether Taiwan can still be defended. And that is a statement about the fact that China has gone full on in its military modernization. It is more likely in a conservative administration that you would see that emphasis manifest, that you would see a conservative administration do more to confront China and deter Beijing than we've seen so far under the Biden administration.
He says that in recent years, the U.S. has been distracted by global conflicts in both Ukraine and in Gaza. And if Trump were elected again, it could bring a wave of policy geared towards handling threats in the Indo-Pacific.
If you're going to prioritize China, particularly from a military perspective, given scarce resources, it suggests well, you're going to have to do less of something elsewhere. And that becomes the hang-up. What are you going to do less of in order to do more to deal with China? Certainly the Biden administration, Congress as well, they've been very reluctant to find ways to do less in the European theater, to do less in the Middle Eastern theater.
And this, many analysts say, will be the biggest difference between a Harris and Trump administration, prioritizing Asia over other regions. But with Trump's history of transactional relationships, there's still a chance he could move priorities away from Asia towards other regions he thinks might be more important than Taiwan. Hsueh and Jaime Ocon in Washington, D.C. for TaiwanPlus.